Hello guys, so today I wanted to bring you my 5 best tips for starting out as a beginner Vecna. First, I want to let you know that I am indeed a P100 Vecna main and I have taken in thousands of hours to master and love the Lich in Dead by Daylight. These 5 tips are the most relevant to a beginner player. If I get enough likes on this video, I will make sure to make a more advanced tips video to help those who already know the basics. Make sure you also stay tuned for a bonus tip as your support goes a long way for the channel. With that said, let's get to throwing the Vecna around the fog. Remember, stop running, just edge. The first tip I want to give you when starting out as Vecna is to not just throw your Flight of the Damned spell out willy-nilly. Not only can this be countered by simply crouching, it's not worth losing one of his best spells to a cooldown. Vecna is far deadlier up close. If you are right behind a survivor, cast the skeletons right in front of them. This can give you a hit where you can very quickly catch back up with your M1. Also, whenever you are going up any kind of elevation, try your hand at sending your skeleton out with the right position so they are lower to the ground. This makes it much harder for the survivors to dodge as they cannot crouch to avoid them. If you see someone about to unhook another survivor, you can send your skeletons out to hit the person attempting the unhook. And finally, if you think a survivor is going to vault a window or pallet, try to learn when to send your skeletons out to make them hit them during the vault animation. For more advanced techs, you can either watch my Vecna guide, which will be in the video description below, or we can create a more advanced tips video soon. Tip number 2 is Mage Hand. When it comes to Mage Hand, this is one of Vecna's best spells. Mage Hand grants you anti-loop where you can either hold a pallet upright or you can relift a pallet to continue chase. There should be careful use of this spell as using it at the wrong time can see survivors re-dropping the pallet onto you, which is never fun, especially for Vecna's nose. I mean, look at mine, it's basically gone now. Thanks, Michaela. When approaching a loop, always try to use Mage Hand at the last second. This will ensure you have the maximum amount of time possible to loop the tile and have a chance at hitting a survivor. If you grab it too early, the survivor will likely make it around and have enough time to drop the pallet on you. This is Vecna's largest cooldown spell, so make sure to use it wisely in chase. You can also use the Mage Hand right at the last second before a survivor vaults to pull them back off the pallet, and you can then push yourself in front of them to stop them dropping it. Practice this when you're out there in the fog. Our third tip is actually Vecna's fly spell. Although it may seem like I am simply giving tips for each spell, I find these 3 the most useful to give advice on early, as his Dispelling Sphere is more so useful for information by sending it out to the generators, or better, right when you initiate a chase with another survivor. This is because it nullifies their magical items that they can find around the map, unless it's the Hand or Eye of Vecna, which is totally different counterplay, and definitely something I can go into in another video. Fly is useful for Vecna, especially with its recent buff for mobility. Vecna flies at 8 meters per second, meaning he can catch up very quickly to survivors. If you are flying through a vault whilst chasing a survivor, you should always try to end fly yourself just before you go through the vault so that your ability to M1 is ready far quicker, and so you can body block survivors from revolting. It's also useful to mention that whilst holding fly, you can essentially push survivors out of the way, making it extremely useful when survivors try to body block you. Aside from this, especially as a beginner, do not be afraid of getting your first M1 hit and then instantly flying to the survivor to keep the chase momentum high. Our 4th tip comes in the form of some of Vecna's best add-ons. My personal favourites are the Staff of Withering, which causes the survivors to be exhausted when entering the Dispelling Sphere. This can negate Dead Hard, Life, and any other exhaustion perk. Robe of Eyes, which acts as a pocket version of Lethal Pursuer. Pocket Pursuer, as I like to call it. This is basically at the beginning of each match, the survivors 9 times out of 10 are usually near a magical chest, meaning you always get aura at the start and you can instantly fly towards them, which is great for earlier chasers. Simply spawn in, move forward a few meters, cast your Dispelling Sphere and get the aura, and then fly to your first chase. The final add-on I love is the Raven's Feather. This adds an additional half a second to Vecna's 5-second fly duration, basically allowing you to cover greater distances, and possibly catch up to survivors easier who prefer to W key. The 5th tip features one of my favourite perks for Vecna, which is Rapid Brutality. The way this perk synergizes with Vecna is almost like no other. Now, you do lose Bloodlust altogether using this, but the trade-off is more than worth it. And it's also important to note that if you use a spell, such as Mage Hand for example in a chase, you will actually lose Bloodlust, so it makes more sense to have a haste perk that not only helps you catch up to survivors whilst travelling around, but it also stacks that additional 5% haste on top of Vecna's fly, which means you fly even faster and it can be incredibly useful for closing distances quickly. You will see when you are running it in a match. You M1 a survivor, this grants you the 5% haste for 10 seconds and then instantly fly towards them. If there isn't another pallet or loop super close by, it's basically over for them. Okay, so you have made it this far. If this helps you or you just want to show some love, please hit that like and subscribe button, as I will always be creating more gameplay footage for Vecna as well as DBD content. I did make a promise, and that was to show you guys a bonus tip for watching all of the video. Okay, the final bonus tip for today comes in the form of motivation. Vecna does take a little more time to learn over some of the simpler killers. However, if you stay true to learning him, you will find yourself having a blast while slinging spells all over the fog. In your first so many games, try not to focus too much on the win and more so on your own individual performance with certain spells. Try to pick up the feel of when the right time is to use his Mage Hand, his skeletons and his fly, but do not be afraid of using his spells. Just don't use them in the wrong way, like firing the skeletons from 16 meters away at someone that has plenty of time to react and crouch. It's the same advice I would give to a Blight player who might be scared to rush into objects because they aren't confident in chaining their bumps to get a survivor. The sooner you start to overcome this, the sooner you will pick things up quicker and easier. Yes, the spells do have cooldowns, but it's also just as important to not be too hesitant using them. Okay, that was very nice and motivational, but for those who really wanted one last tip for Vecna, take this from me. When you are going back and forth at a pallet with survivors who refuse to leave before you start to break the pallet, go one direction and then quickly Mage Hand the pallet up, allowing you to travel through the middle and catch them off guard. It's usually a free hit. And that just about wraps up our beginner tips video for Vecna. If you found anything useful here, then please consider coming over to my Twitch channel. The link is also in the description. We are live loads throughout the week and we always have time playing our Lich on stream, and we have an amazing Go to W community growing over there. I'd love for you to be a part of the journey we are on. We always have a load of new people that come along that ask for hints and tips whilst I'm live, and I'm perfectly happy showing them as well. I don't mind sharing what I've learned, so if you'd like to come on over, please consider joining the Twitch community. With that said, best of luck to all of you new Vecna players, and make sure to take it easy. Till next time.